See, that's where I should start it. But I never do. I'm just saying, that beat.
That beat dropped. You gotta wait for the beat drop.
And then I'm supposed to be like, hello and welcome to the Verge. But now I'm just saying it now. So hello and welcome to the Vergecast. This is a very special edition of the Vergecast. It's very special because my headphones are so incredibly loud, which means I'm just going to be crazy this whole time. No, hello and welcome to the Vergecast. I'm Nilay, I'm the editor of The Verge. And a thing that is happening today, March 17th, but you're going to listen to it on March 18th. Think about it in your car. Is that I don't have any of the usual crew with me. Dieter's gone. Nicola's gone.
We kidnapped them. We tied them up.
Center into space. If you have been looking at The Verge this week, you know that on Monday we published what I think is a remarkable interview with the First Lady of the United States. We shot it at the White House. What?
I'm going to just point out that you've been tweaking your mic, and now everyone's hearing that.
No, they're good. Yeah, they're good. It's just the headphones are super loud. Anyway, I have the crew that was behind that piece with me, the Verge video crew, Verge Creative, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just there's a division of our company called Vox Creative, so I just like
Verge Creative.
Verge Creative.
So over there is Tom Connors, who's our senior director.
Hello.
In the middle, we got James Bareham, who's our creative director. He shot the photos of the First Lady.
I certainly
on
did.
the website. If you saw those, they're beautiful.
Fantastic.
Thank you. That's
Trey,
actually fantastic.
Trey, I haven't introduced you yet, man.
Come on, hurry up.
Trey, you got to understand, you don't talk until you get introduced.
Miriam Nielsen is one of our directors. Also did all the post-production stuff of making it all work. And then in the hype seat, where he belongs, Verge executive producer Tre Shallowhorn.
All right.
I don't even know what you're doing. This is a huge mistake.
Can I take on an alias?
No.
Like a DJ alias?
Your name already sounds like an alias. Your name is Tre
is
Shallowhorn.
Is this just a West Coast thing? But growing up listening to radio, all the radio DJs had like super deep voices. And you'd be like, this is DJ.
This is a radio thing.
DJ Dirty Do Rags.
What are you doing?
This is
What is happening?
K-Verge 105.9.
Can
All right, cut off.
Can we mute Trey's microphone?
Tre Shallowhorn between.
Refer to me as DJ Dirty Do Rags from now on.
No, definitely not.
It's not going to happen.
100% not doing that.
Sorry, I'm just bringing you that ultra hype.
No, you're just bringing me that lawsuit.
1985.
Straight up lawsuit. That's what you're bringing me right now. All right. Oh, man. No, it's great. Vox just got an HR department, and we're going to see if it works. That's going to be awesome. Anyhow,
105.
Trey,
We're good.
You can't
this is why
talk
Trey
like
is always behind the camera.
Yep.
Like it's like there's a camera, there's a person in front of the camera, then there's like the guy operating the camera, then there's like someone else looking at the camera, and then Trey in the background, like far, far away from the
Just
camera.
always permanently in the hype seat of production.
Wow, tension's running high already on the podcast. This formerly tight crew falling apart. All right, so we gotta. So I hope you watch the video in 360. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Move your phone around. Do that thing. I think it's really great on a tablet. That experience because you have a much bigger viewport. If you have a headset, it is tremendous in a headset. We've been demoing it in a headset for a bunch of people. I want to actually talk about sort of the headset stuff a little bit later on, but I thought we would just use this show, at least the first big chunk of it, to talk about how we made the thing, how the reaction has been, how we're thinking about the future of kind of VR on 360. Because there's a lot of VR news this week. PlayStation VR came out. Oculus is coming out soon. It was GDC. We saw a bunch of games and things. And then we sort of like are obligated to talk for 5 minutes at the end about Apple because there's an Apple event next week. They're going to put out a small phone and a small iPad. Apple. Small iPad. Anyhow. But let's talk about where this project came from at the beginning. So we were at CES, and Trey and Tom and I were very tired.
Not a glamorous CES.
Not a
to paint the picture a little better, we were in a trailer
that
we
didn't have
trailer. Great ventilation, and we locked ourselves into the incomplete room, like the room we didn't do anything with. We just put a couch there.
It was like a room full of boxes, a couch, and a small table,
Yeah.
and like 3 rapidly deteriorating people.
Right.
So just imagine that glamorous scene. And we got on the phone with the White House because they had asked to talk to us. And they're like, let's do this thing with First Lady. We talked a little bit about what kind of story you want to tell. They were very interested in talking about her social media stuff, so we thought that was cool. And then we're like, we got to do a video. And they're like, what do you want to do for the video? And all of us sort of like silently mouth 360 at each other. I think Tom was like very excited about it. And then they were like, yeah, that sounds great. And we hung up the phone. And this is where I want Tom and Tre to take over. We're like, how do we make a 360 video? Because we've never made one before. And then these guys were like, well, we're at CES. And they like literally walked out of the trailer, walked onto the show floor of CES and started finding 360 camera vendors.
Which we listened to a lot of pitches.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one place where it's like, I don't know how to do something technologically, I better figure it out. Like CES is the place to be.
This is the
it was the luckiest place.
But here's a question. So when you went out onto the floor, did you sort of shout, hey?
Yeah,
we've got to go to the White House.
Well, Tre, you started the floor, so I'll let you start.
Right. So, well, we started walking around, and at one point, we basically rented a bunch of walls, like a really crappy 360 cameras.
I mean, the hard part about
it's immature technology.
Yeah,
right?
and
like,
CES was showcasing a lot of consumer grade stuff.
Right.
And consumer grade stuff gets you 1080p and
right.
360, which is nowhere near 1080p quality.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of beta
Lies
products.
for people's
No, I will say
so-
the overwhelming theme of this is that everything is first generation.
Yes.
And I actually
exactly.
really want to get into how many
Right.
stumbles we had
and
along
so-
the way.
so-
With
I'll tell you
360, it's also just like not how you capture it, but then how you stitch it in the back end and making sure you have a robust system behind you to do that, because stitching it together could be the worst part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the moment I actually discovered the company that we ended up partnering with, we were actually shooting our Verge horror film. If you guys haven't seen it.
There's a Verge horror film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
B,
It's wonderful.
It's B film classic, guys,
Yeah.
by the way.
Wow.
And so we're shooting this horror film, and I just start walking around, and I see a trailer for another VR company, and I start talking to one of the guys there, and I won't say their name, but I'm talking to him, I'm explaining to him what the project is, and at one point he's like, hey, come over here, and I'm like, what, we're about to do some shady drug deal in the middle of CES? Like, why are you whispering and telling me to come into the corner of your shady trailer? And he's like, you know what? So honestly, this camera's shit. And it's just like, I got the real deal for you.
Yeah.
Like, I got that good stuff. It's like, all right, dude. So what's up? And so we exchange numbers, and give him a call. He puts me in contact with another producer. Give him a call. Puts me in contact with another producer, and then voila, opened up the doors with our partnership.
John.
With John.
And they were
John
great.
VR.
But like everything, so then we're there, we're like figuring it out. The other part of it was we needed photos of the First Lady. So I literally texted James. I was like, are
You
you
did?
around?
I was.
And then James came. So fast forward. Okay, we've got the camera. We've got it lined up. It's the night before. Everyone's getting there. Tre, I think we set up a fake shoot.
Yeah, so Vox has also an office in DC, which had a pretty much empty floor that we like brought all of our stuff up, and we mapped out the room. We like paced what we thought would be like the kind of
Because
like
no one's
layout.
ever done this stuff before.
Right,
We just
so-
had to like try it.
And we had like, it wasn't just the VR camera we had, or the 360 camera. We had 5 other C300 Mark IIs there that we had to set up, because we're not 100% sure we could like go to the White House, set one camera down, and hope it doesn't fail. So like we needed a backup. In addition
Boy,
to
were we
that.
ever correct in that assumption.
So yeah, we started from scratch and tried to do. Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear
Direct from science.
Tom is in need of a beer.
Thank
So-
you.
Hi, Ariel.
Thank you.
Hi.
Bye, Ariel.
For the record, I asked not for this to happen.
It's important.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had the whole thing set up the night before, and the 360 company, John, came in, started to set up their camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we doing?
Dude, tell the whole story.
Okay, great.
Tell the whole
So,
story.
have you ever flown with a big piece of technology? Things shift. And the moment we opened up the camera, it didn't work. And that's it.
But this is like, it's just first generation stuff.
Right.
Right.
Like it's
exactly.
like a beautiful
It's-
high end camera. Like
The
it's
shit
there.
looks like the Death Star. If you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
haven't
Right.
seen this, it's
so cool.
It's scary.
And it's not. I wouldn't even
to
say it's
blow
first
some-
generation. It's just like you travel with gear.
And breaks.
It
Yeah.
move like things move around, and the only thing I think, from what I understood, the thing that happened was a wire got loose inside.
Yeah.
and it just got to be plugged in.
Yeah.
Um,
But they were up all night trying to fix the software. Like it was like crazy. But that's like when I keep saying everything in VR is like first generation. Like this is the best camera. It's stereoscopic, 4K. Like it can do everything. Right. That company is like designed it. They like have a thing. But like they were up all night. So in the middle of the night, I'm going to bed because I have to interview the first lady in the morning. It's a thing. I was like, I should go prepare. Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. And I just get this text from Trey that's like, yo.
That's how all my text messages start off, by the way.
They're usually a lot more fun after that. But Trey's like, we might be hosed, right?
Yeah.
And so Trey at 3 a.m, something crazy, calls a second VR production company. 360 production company. Fine. Sorry. By the way, I really want to talk about 360 versus VR.
Oh, we can have an argument.
Because I'm ready to have that argument.
I'm going to win it.
Wow.
I keep saying the wrong thing all the time.
You just call it spherical, and then you get both.
There you go. Miriam
Really?
for the compromise.
Spherical.
Anyhow, Total Cinema 360.
Yeah.
And they got on a
came
train
clutch.
at like 2 a.m. and got on a train in New York and came to DC and arrived at like 7 a.m. with like 2 of their cameras.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. To get into the White House, you need to be cleared by the Secret Service.
You have to have background checks done.
You have to have background checks. You have to
done weeks ahead of time.
Weeks ahead. We've been submitting forms and like this and that, and we're like, here's 5 new people. Like just like here they are. Like, can you figure this out?
Also, table that for later in this story because that comes up again.
Oh, it does come up again. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So Total Cinema shows up. They're there in the morning. The jaunt guy in the morning is like, I fixed the camera. And so now we're like, we just told the service.
Interesting.
Hello.
Because we just brought other people down.
Yeah, right. We just brought other people. It was great actually to end up. We used both shots, but
So
then
in the
just
video,
imagine the scene of these like, we've now hired 2 companies. It's like the lobby of a hotel. We're like getting ready to leave, and they're just like looking at each other.
Right, to stare down.
It was like,
it was not
It's a
tense.
360
it was not
face-off.
tense, but it was just like
tense.
a.
Everyone was tired. It wasn't
Everyone was
tense
very
at all.
tired.
It wasn't tense. Everyone was
I
tired.
was tense. I had to talk to the first lady.
Yeah.
I was super
You weren't
tense because
even
I was
there.
sitting. Well, I was there in spirit.
Yeah, I wasn't.
No, I was there. Trey and Tom were like driving. Oh,
Yeah.
we had a van full
Oh,
of
man.
gear.
Okay, so that's the other part of the story. It's like we all stayed up. We got out of the office at like 2 a.m. and had to load all of this gear, big lighting equipment, back into this van that we parked in the alleyway, which I got like 3 tickets for.
This is definitely like the creeper van, by the way.
Right.
The
Oh, that's what
quintessential
blew
creeper
the budget here. Is
Right,
your
right. Oh, for
tickets
sure.
on your unmarked white van.
Well, that's the other thing is we chose like the shadiest looking van to pull to the White House, which I had to drive, which was not fun. But like Trey can attest to this because we unpacked and repacked that van. It was a feat of strength to get that in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh man.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So just so you know, to get the van into the White House, they had to drive to a separate location
A scanning facility.
where the van was X-rayed and scanned and like searched.
Right.
And then this is the part I don't understand. Then they just sort of like let you go. Like they didn't like escort you. You just like took
No,
off.
we got escorted.
Oh, you got escorted? Oh,
I don't know. How,
so
I don't know how much we can describe.
We
Like
go to
meet and
one-
greets.
yeah.
Right. We
Well,
go to
just
one-
because we were all standing at the White House, and all of a sudden these 2 jokers roll up in their white van.
Hey,
Like, what are we
hey
doing
kids.
here?
Well,
Hey kids, got some stuff back here.
Why are you on the show?
we go to one location. They check everything for us.
DJ Durags.
No,
Absolutely not.
forbidden.
So we go to one location, they check all of the stuff inside, and then we get to the White House, and they're like, okay, can you bring everything out? And Trey and I are like, all of it? And then they just stood, like, really well put together military men just stood there and watched us. Like,
Yeah.
in suit and ties, like, try to haul all this gear out by ourselves in the freezing
It's
cold.
freezing.
Oh,
It's
yeah, it's really
freezing,
cold.
and we're wearing a suit, no coat,
Yeah,
just
we're trying to look good.
freezing.
Anyway, so then we get to the White House, and we're like, in all of the back and forth of putting names onto the list and updating the list, James's name has fallen off the list. So we finally
Isn't
get
that
in.
a surprise?
I have this
Fantastic.
photo of James looking like he's in prison outside of the White, like holding onto the bars of the gate, just so sad.
Just pacing back and
Hey,
forth.
and I'm like, yo, he's the person doing the work here. Like he's the photographer.
I was actually, I remembered, I just walked around in circles.
Yeah.
It was the only thing I could do. And the funny thing was, the Secret Service were really nice.
Yeah,
and every
yeah.
night a voice would come out of the door, sorry, sir, you're still not in the system.
Yeah.
Could happen to anybody.
Well, because James is
But it
not,
happened to me.
well, because James is not an American citizen, he's a
I am
British
not
citizen.
no,
Right, British.
I am British.
Is it British or UK?
It is British.
It's British. All right.
British, and I lived in the UK.
well,
All Britain. This
Total
could go.
tangent.
This could go down a whole
Yeah, let's
thing.
not play this game.
Let's not play.
do you think it's called VR or 360 video? Anyway, so
Spherical.
because James is not a U.S. citizen, he had to get a special check and then wear a different color badge and have
Yes.
a minder.
Yes.
Because there's nothing more dangerous to our country than a British national. Like, I don't know if you know about the War of 1812, but it was a situation. So that's like James like waited outside. So we're inside. We're setting up. Miriam is like furiously setting up gear just everywhere.
Yes.
And we have this massive crew. We're in the White House. And finally, obviously, Michelle Obama shows up. James takes her photo. You can see that in the video. We shoot the thing. Tell me what shooting it was like.
It's kind of crazy because you're preparing and you're thinking, I just need everything to work.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing was that the White House wanted it to be a tethered camera so that people could, her crew could see the pictures as they came in. And there's people everywhere, and you're just thinking if the camera cable gets pulled out midway through the shoot, and I'm over here. But the funny thing was, when we started shooting, I couldn't actually see the computer anymore.
Yeah.
Neither could for the First Lady. And I actually stopped and said at one point, it's funny, you know, you and me are the only people who can't see a single picture that's been taken. And everybody else is going, fantastic. That got picked
So-
up.
The in joke is that that's what is said in the very beginning of the video numerous times. And trust me, it goes on.
It goes on. Thank you.
Well, no, because he's direct. It's like,
I-
that's the thing. He had to
I
direct
gotta
her.
Yeah, and it's great. And
Yeah.
she got great photos.
was
she was very
fantastic.
You
good.
cannot.
It was fantastic. I mean, she wasn't. She really got into it. It was great, and we got some stuff, as you've seen.
Yeah.
20 minutes goes by very, very quickly in those
Yeah,
circumstances.
those photos were only
It's-
taken in just 20 minutes.
It's incredible.
And then I got a question here. Oh, by the way, tweet at me if you want to ask questions or tweet any of these people.
Also, if you want to make a poll for if it's 360 or VR, go for it.
Or spherical.
Spherical.
You're going to get there, Miriam. This is vision. This is what vision is like. You just say it over and over and over again
Spherical.
because it comes true. So, Miriam, you were like operating cameras in the room. What was it like for you?
I mean, the actual shoot, aside from like the glow off Michelle Obama, was really easy.
Yeah?
Like once everything was set up and everything was working again, the actual shoot was very chill.
Yeah. She's like chill. She's like,
Oh,
She
she's
sat down.
very
amazing.
laid back.
Fantastic.
Trey has a crush on the first lady.
Cut away.
It's true. I know it's true. I'm just putting it out there.
Just
Just
gave
end the
gave
stream
that-
now.
Just gave that peep to the camera.
No,
No.
don't do
No,
that
no,
either.
no, no,
No.
How are you
no,
in
she's-
charge of anything here?
Let me just say she has such an aura,
Yeah.
a glow to her that's just it's so captivating. Like
Yeah.
she commands attention.
Yeah.
Like when she steps into the room, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
The queen.
And
the
she's
queen has arrived. The
tall.
queen has arrived.
She's super
She's
tall.
She's so
She's
tall.
tall.
Yeah. No, and she was great. And she was really like the interview. You should watch the interview because she says smart, interesting things in the interview, and she's like totally on top of it. But she was also just a commanding presence in the room, and like she really just thought through all the things that we were talking about, and she charmed the hell out of everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely.
At the very end, she took James's glasses off her face, and I thought James was going to melt into a puddle on the floor.
Yes, I was. I felt like I was about 7 years old and being
Yeah.
told what to do. And I didn't mind at all.
Anyway, so then we're done there. We pack up. We leave the White House. I mean, just literally from 3 to 5 in the morning, Trey and I are like, this isn't going to work. Like we're texting each other. Cameras are broken, but everything came together. Everything worked. Describe what happened next. Like how do you go from shooting to 360 cameras and there for you?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go.
This is Tom and Miriam time. I want to know what happened next.
I mean, so the process is actually not very different than any regular video we'd make, right? So we brought all of our footage back. We ingested all the 5 cameras that we shot with besides the 360 camera. The 2 360 teams came back, gave us proxies, maybe, what would say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after?
Yeah, something like that.
It was like long, but not too long after.
So you
And these are
didn't
like-
have final files. You just had like early renders.
Yeah. So yeah, in an ideal world, it's like this is the file this is the same length of file you're gonna get. This is the same amount of time. It's just like low quality, stitches imperfect. You know, maybe you'll see double of me in one place or double of someone else, but like
Or the entire video.
or the entire video.
Well, no,
Two Tom.
Walk me through something really basic. So the cameras we were using, they were really just collections of cameras, right? Pointed in
Right.
all different directions.
Right.
Tell me, Miriam, like what a stitch is. Like just explain it to the listener for a second.
Okay, so it's the same way if you like took a panorama photo with your iPhone or whatever. It takes all of these pictures and seams them together, except for this one's seaming them together in a big sphere and then flattening them out into an equirectangular projection, which is similar to the way you see your world maps like in your high school classroom.
Yeah.
Because that's the globe made flat.
And then
So
you
it's like distorted
but
near
you
the bottom.
edited in that distortion.
Yeah, we
Yep.
edited in the equirectangular.
Wow. Which looked crazy. By the end, we were all looking at it, and it was very normal to us.
Yeah, if especially near the center, it does look almost identical, like just like the world, like in the center parts of that stretched out projection of the Earth, like they do look pretty normal, and then like as you grow further away, and Greenland looks awful. Just like the bottom of the floor looks bad.
I mean, there's some really great footage of Tre during the photo shoot, like looking into Total Cinema's camera, and his head becomes like the size.
Also, one thing, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I was so determined to stand next to Michelle Obama when we were taking the photo at the end that I went behind whoever was in front of her and was standing on my tippy toes the entire time. So I want you all to go back.
Who else would
Watch-
notice that? Best
watch-
Easter egg in the thing.
Watch the end.
Actually, the
And
best.
Are
just
you
watch
jumping?
The first
No,
person
I'm
can
standing
get a
on my
screenshot
tippy
of
toes
that.
because I'm trying to make sure that my face can be seen, but I'm also as close to Michelle Obama as
I
possible.
think you're blocked.
one
I don't think
thing-
you can see
actually,
you in the VR.
My favorite Easter egg in the
360.
entire
Okay.
thing is that
Catch me. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't make it
guys.
Ultra hype since
You're
1985.
you're just making sounds at each other.
You missed a big slip up for your argument.
Anyway, let me say what the best Easter egg is, and then you can do whatever you're doing. Whatever
Which is
dumb thing
what?
that you're doing. The best Easter egg is when we were setting up the 360 camera, we said this is recording the entire room, and her staff was like, oh, where are we going to put the Secret Service? Because the Secret Service can't be on camera. So I'm not going to show it, but if you look at it, you can see how they were like hiding. It's in there. There's like,
Can you?
yeah, they peek in at one point.
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, I watched.
You
I
can see
watched.
them moving.
Yeah, it's
That-
crazy. But they were not allowed. Like, they don't want their movements to be known. Like they don't want people to
Right,
study
right.
their patterns.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're in there,
Right.
but they are they figured out how to avoid.
I've looked at
the
this piece a
camera.
lot of times. I've never seen it. So
I
they're
tell
very
you,
sneaky.
I'm not
I
going
mean,
to
you
tell
never
you.
looked at that like
Yeah,
part
probably.
of it because
But do you
Yeah.
remember when we were setting up the photography? These guys are so good, and ladies. Miriam hid her pass, and this guy suddenly appeared. Like, ching. Excuse me, madam, can you show the pass?
Yeah,
She pulled it out. We turned around. He'd gone.
yeah.
Don't know where.
he was
It
actually.
amazing.
That's actually a ghost. That was Abraham. That was. I don't want to. That was Abraham Lincoln.
That would have been so cool.
That'd be amazing. The ghost of like Taft shows up. Is like, where's your badge? Poops away.
In my defense, I didn't hide it. The chain broke.
Oh, I see.
So
Ah, I
I
just
see.
thought you were being a little bit rebellious. You know, just
I mean, obviously, but
making a
it
statement.
broke.
Anyhow, I got a question here. Discuss 360 versus VR. We're gonna get there.
Oh
I
man.
promise.
I
we're gonna
think
get
this is
there.
the thing we just tease the entire episode and never get
Never
to.
talk about.
Well, because it's obviously VR.
Wow.
Duh.
See?
So what is it?
No. Let's
Why not?
finish this
Okay.
up. So you've got your octo-rectangular
Ecto.
map.
Ecto.
Equa.
Sounds like something from
Like-
Ghostbusters.
Like
Like
equal.
equator?
Definitely sounds like something from Ghostbusters.
Spelling.
Equator.
Yeah,
That's
sure. Equator makes a lot more sense.
Equa-rectangular.
It's projected so the equator is correct, so equirectangular.
Okay. So you've got that. It's what? It's in Premiere,
Yep.
right? And then you were
Or
working
any
in
editing
After
software.
Effects, right? Or do we have plugins? Like, how do we make it? Like, I think it's not obvious to people how this stuff actually gets made.
Yeah, so I mean the equitime projection is just a 2x1 kind of a longer video than you would normally see. Like you only get 16 by 9.
Right.
And then we just edit with that. So we make cuts the same way we'll make cuts in Premiere. The more tricky stuff comes with how you make cuts look good, because cutting video in a little box makes sense. Like we've all watched a lot of film, we've all watched a lot of movies. We understand that concept, but in 360, it's a much different experience to have your entire world flashing and changing all the time. So figuring out how to do that was kind of where we landed. And I'll let Miriam take away with some of the After Effects tricks we learned how to figure out how to make cuts and how to hide things in 360.
Okay. I mean, as for plugins, we relied pretty heavily on Metal Skybox, which like distorts everything for you, so you don't have to do the math, which is great when you're editing at like 2 a.m.
I don't know if it's
very important.
I don't know if it's
Counting
obvious
your
here. Miriam almost died making this thing.
Yeah. We tried a couple of different ways to disguise the cuts, and that distracting people by making them look at these great floating
Yeah.
boxes of tablets and phones. We tried a couple things with having the background blur so you don't actually see the cut happen, which There are like varying degrees in the comments of how well that worked.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really? I thought it worked really well.
My friends on like the spherical video side of the world were like,
Really?
why didn't you use a Mobius transition? I was like, well, sorry.
Wow.
Where-
We got
Whoa,
deep.
right?
By the way,
Wow.
Spherical Video World cuts like a knife.
That's rough out there, guys. Be careful.
Those people are harsh.
Well, so then let's talk about the next thing, which is, so we got through the editing where we've got proxy files, or stitching it, or you're editing the stitch files. Then we added this data layer. I think of it as the data layer over it, like a virtual world that's full of little animated cell phones
Right.
and things. How did that work?
I mean, I would so how did it work? I mean, I'll talk sort of conceptually, and I think Miriam can talk about technically.
Yeah, I have a question here that's like, where'd it go? Let's talk about the UI in the piece, because it actually has UI, right?
Yeah.
Here it is. Alex Ryder says, what kind of paradigms are used to help guide the viewer to look at the focus item in the 360 viewer?
Sure. So conceptually, like, think of these kind of worlds we made up as really no different than animation that you would do in a video to help explain something, or B-roll you would throw over concepts to kind of help reinforce that. It's the same idea in this 360 video. It's just happening all over. And one of the things we talked about was that we kind of wanted you to have, like, if you're going to put yourself in 360, you might as well get rewarded for using 360. So the idea was to always kind of like give you something. So if you want to look completely behind you, there was always something you could look at. Or if you want to look to the left or the right, there's always like at least some element that'll give you into a new direction. And the graphics kind of help push you in that in directions where we wanted you to, but didn't just say, okay, now look here, now look there, because that would get boring and everyone wants to do what they want to do. How did they work? Was that the question?
Yeah. So I mean, so that's the concept, and we
Right.
talked about it. Like, and I didn't actually think of it in terms of being a user interface until I was just at South by Southwest, and our company has a director of user experience on our product team, and he started talking to me like, "You built a UI. Like,
Right.
there's a little orange dot that like helps you move
Yep.
around the scene. There, a lot. What was really interesting to me, and I actually want to talk about this in more depth later, but I put a lot of people into a Gear VR and had them watch it, and they thought the thing was interactive. Like they instinctively, because it's so much like a user interface, they would look at things and then like tap on the side of the thing to try to zoom into that moment.
Right. So a lot of that is like, we know about where you're probably going to look, especially for the interview. There's 3 people on chairs and they're talking. So that's the most interesting thing. So graphics emerge from there, right? So a lot of you, if you watch a lot of the graphics, we'll have little elements that Miriam helped make that pop up and then push out this way or push out to the right.
Yeah.
And they curve, and that makes your eye kind of follow them. And when they land, iPhone pops up or a Android phone pops up, and there is a video in there, and you start watching that. And maybe there's another one that extends from there. And it's all about, graphics are always trying to push you in a certain direction, but it's not necessarily you need to follow them. And at one point we have this Vine interview, right, where or Vine Q&A that Michelle did, and she's talking to kids as they ask questions. And what we did was we put a little orange element behind the phone, and when she stopped when someone asked a question and she started to answer, that ball would shift to the next phone. So your eye would follow that. It's like it's that like movement and response. So you're seeing something move and you're responding to it. And that's sort of the idea behind like guiding people when they need to be guided, but giving them something to look at when they're not.
I thought the fun one was the tire from the car.
Yeah.
Right.
The way they just went all the way around. You could follow it all the way around back to the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah. For 3 people on our video team, you guys are all terrible at talking into the microphone, by the way.
I'm sorry.
All 3 of you are bad at this.
That's why we're behind the cameras.
Yeah.
For the record.
Well, let me tell you, give me a little tip from in front. I'm sorry. So Miriam, as you were like building these layers, and there's a great company called Lunar North that helped us do all this stuff. So you got the video we have, you have the After Effect, the animation. How'd you put this stuff together in Tweako? Like, how'd you make it work? Like, I think a bunch of questions I've had is like, how did you layer in the Vine video onto an animation into a VR world? Like, what was that process like?
I mean, again, it was like, it's wildly similar to when you regularly animate in just like a bigger, because we did everything in the equirectangular flat out thing. The tricky bit was like exporting it, getting into a headset to like see, does this work? Does this not work? But for the most part, you layer it in, you apply Metal software if it's not on the equator or
Closer, yeah.
yeah, there's like sometimes when we didn't use it and did use it, like messing around, seeing what worked and what didn't. But for them, and for the most part, it's very similar, just much bigger files than we've been working with. So our computers struggled a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like
Yeah, they
That-
struggled a lot. I
A
think.
lot.
that larger rectangle that we've been working with is really absolutely no different, and it doesn't really get changed into a sphere until you upload it to something like Facebook or YouTube, and their software is doing the wrapping into like what looks like a sphere.
Right.
So like for us, really the secret of it is like it wasn't that different.
Right. That's
we
kind of
like
incredible.
editing in
Yeah.
360.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that one kind of.
Oh man, I have thoughts about that too.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
man.
Tom sent me a text that was like, "I've set up virtual desktops in the Vive, and
So-
I'm never leaving again."
So Virgil Jordan Opplinger came in on Saturday, and he was like, "I want to look at the Vive," and then he like set up the virtual desktop, and let me tell you this:
Yeah.
in a year from now, I will be editing all my videos in a swivel chair with a keyboard attached to me and a mouse, and I'm just going to turn around and edit like that because I think it's the best way to do it. Like I'll have as many monitors as I want around me.
Yeah.
I can just eventually I'll be able to just touch things. So I'll just
Like
grab
Leap controllers.
Oh my God.
my footage from a bin, cut it in there.
Yeah.
It sounds like the best way to live.
Yeah.
Except for the eye strain.
And
Yeah.
you know what's going to
I'll
be incredible
survive.
though is that the interfaces are going to get way more and more skeuomorphic. So you'll actually be grabbing rolls of film, of footage. You'll have a virtual cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be scotch taping them together.
Right.
I mean that would be perfect, right? If like you went back to analog, you're like there was like an analog VR movement.
I'm down for it.
I'm coining it right now, analog VR. Someone buy the domain. It's doing things as analog as possible in a totally virtual reality.
Analog
I've got
Spherical.
a great vinyl collection in virtual reality.
I like it. See,
Yeah.
that you can call virtual reality.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay,
man.
come
Oh
on.
wow, are we throwing down?
Yeah.
Look, here's what I think.
Okay.
I've watched.
State your argument.
Here's my argument. It's very simple.
Okay.
Right.
People are dumb.
Okay.
Right? Just go with
Does
me.
that
on this.
include?
No, just go with
Okay.
me on this. Only one term can win. Only one term is going to win. I've seen so much coverage of our video on other sites. Half of them were like, "Watch The Verge's amazing 3D video," and I was like,
I know,
What?
that's
You're
the
just,
worst.
what are you? Are you? Do you know what 3D? You understand? You
Yep.
live in 3 dimensions,
Okay.
and then on the screen there's
So-
only 2, right? Like
I'll argue this because I know your argument's
only
going.
VR is going to win.
If you want to say that, then you could say, if you're saying that is true, you should
Well, first
you should
define
also
your
say
terms.
that 3D is also equally as valid as VR.
No, define your terms.
My terms is that VR is an experience through which you can watch 360. It is not 360 video.
That's not okay. Let's
That is
define.
too complicated.
Let's
You just lost.
But let me
let's
ask- let me
define
ask
the
you-
word definition.
Whoa.
No. Zoo Crew Tre over here. It's like
I'm the band.
Pew!
I'm just the band over here. Just make
What are you
sounds,
doing?
music.
No, define VR. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna make Miriam do it because she's ready. She's like
I know.
bouncing with it. And Miriam, just do
Spherical.
it.
It's spherical.
It's fair. And the
You
sphe-
can. So I don't know if this is the argument I want to make.
It's definitely not.
I mean, you can watch films on TV, but it's not TV when you're watching it, right?
What?
What?
Oh man.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah,
I've got a
think
question.
I
I
will.
love you, Tom.
I've got a
but
question.
you-
Here is a
losing
question.
me over here.
If a film is on TV,
Wow, your squad just broke up, dude.
Here's a question.
I want.
Can you have VR that's not 360?
No.
Yes. Because you can get in the gear and you can watch a regular like
you can watch a 2D thing.
movie, whatever.
Okay.
In their little like weird.
But that's not
movie
VR.
theater.
and you can
that's-
watch 360 without VR. So saying VR,
Ooh.
How?
You
On
spin your
Facebook.
phone around.
how we've all been watching it.
Right.
Do you get in the vibe
Okay.
every time?
Let
you
me
see it?
try.
Because then you have to say augmented reality is the same as virtual reality. Do you want to go down this argument?
I'm ready to do it. Let me
Spherical,
go
guys.
So
down.
hold on.
Spherical's better. No numbers.
Wait, everyone stop
The
for 1
spherical-
second.
spherical
Let
people
me
are
try to
scary.
define these terms
Okay.
as I understand them
Okay.
now. What we're saying about 360 video is it is video in which the camera is stationary. You can like look around the camera.
Right.
You can look around and
Yep.
that's 360 degrees.
Yep.
And that is deliverable to a wide variety of platforms.
Right.
Desktop computers, phones,
Right.
tablets, up to
Right.
a headset.
Right.
In the headset, that thing is often virtual reality, right?
Right.
You're in the space. You feel like you're in the room.
Right.
Right.
But 360 video on a desktop computer is not virtual reality because you're not in the room. Virtual reality requires the headset, so you look around like you're in a virtual space.
Right.
This is the argument you're making, right? I know it's the argument you're
Yep.
making because I believe it's true.
Yep.
I
You just
think-
don't think people
I just
are
think
ready
people,
to accept
I
it as
think
true.
what I just said is so nerdy that everyone's just going to call all of that whole chain of things VR.
I mean,
think
if the
Or
argument,
Spherical.
if your argument is that people are just,
I think the VR AR thing is going to just collapse.
yeah, I
too.
agree with that. But I think that's like a more that's even a more nerdy conversation to have.
Well, it's the Vergecast. Like this, if we're gonna do it, this is where we're gonna do it. There will also be jokes, and Trey will make some sounds.
Hey, wait till Miriam starts making sounds. We have to talk about that.
Miriam,
Sound
is
effects.
that how you think of it? Or give me your argument for Spherical, which
I mean-
I've been dismissive of only to harden you into making the argument with as much passion as I want you to make.
I mean, spherical is just a better word than both of them.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, it's not an acronym. It's not a number. And you're entering a sphere space. It's the Eckwerk
I
beam
do-
projection. It's like a globe. That's my main
I do agree.
argument for it.
It's so
360 is
interstellar.
not something I want to stand behind.
Spherical video.
Spherical video, I can get.
Because then you have to like decide.
But
do I put the
nobody
degree
says
sign
spherical
in? Like,
video.
well, because it hasn't happened
Nobody
yet.
says
We're
it.
making it happen now.
Yeah, we're starting a
This
trend.
is
James.
it. Team
Sorry,
Spherical.
I just don't
Tweet
think
it.
it's going to catch on.
She did tweet it. I don't know. I'm just I to me this like argument about terms is it needs to get solved, right? Because
Right, but we should be making the right solve, right? We should be making the thing that is correct and make that part of the culture, right?
I think it's
That's
just,
our job. That's
it is
our job.
We do
Right?
We do run a media organization, like a really influential tech
Oh my
media
god, I
organization.
feel like, I
And-
feel like
We've
Tom
already
is
put it
about
on
to have a
the
Kanye West moment.
Yeah,
It's
that's our
already on
job.
the site.
Like
It's already on the
we make
site.
the
I don't know what
culture.
that means.
No, because GoPro called it.
you,
Look,
Sean.
here's what I'm saying. I think we can push for it. We've tried to push for
Yeah.
other names. We have lost many times.
Hey,
For example,
but
the
we
word
should be keeping
phablet,
the
Try and
fight
try
up.
again.
the
right?
word phablet exists, right? I did everything I could in my life, like literally everything I could. I left my family. I don't have any friends. I was like, stop calling it a phablet, and then
I don't know
everyone.
if
Just,
anyone calls it a phablet anymore.
No, did they?
Walt calls it a phablet still.
My dad calls it a phablet.
Hey,
It's okay. But
Little known
we're
fact,
moving
Walt,
out of that
Miriam's
generation.
father. Huh? We are.
We're moving through it, right?
All
We're gonna
right.
get better.
All right. So,
So we've conceded that VR is the incorrect way, but you think people will keep saying it. But it's
think a
our
good
job
way-
to say it
I think
the
a
correct
good way to make it seem as though you want an argument is to begin a sentence with "so you've conceded."
Can I bring up a point? It's the same.
Because you haven't won this argument, but it feels like you.
Feels like I have.
Well,
What is that trick? For the radio listener, Tom just smugly drank his beer at me.
I'm just going to say drones.
Drones.
It's the same thing.
What do you mean?
Well,
That's
people
fair.
call drones, they say it's a drone. It's not a drone. It's a radio-controlled.
No,
I mean,
but
it's
like the
becoming
dr-
a drone, though.
They're becoming like they fly themselves
but
now.
the-
But
yeah,
the
Some
first
people
one,
call
but the
them
first ones
autonomous
work.
drones, which is like redundant or whatever.
I think what we can all agree on is that we are huge nerds who care about the names of things.
But they call it drone racing,
They do, but
but they're controlled.
yeah,
But
but they're
there's-
still
there's a-
flying
yeah, there's-
themselves to an enormous degree. Like I've flown a drone, like a Phantom 3. Like if you just gave me a quadcopter and you're like control all 4 rotors and hold it in space, I'd be like, well, that crashed. I've killed many people. Like like I'm sorry, I'm a murderer now.
But it still has the same thing that people say, well, it's drones and it just covers everything. And people aren't saying, well, this bit has got...
Right, and it's our jobs to argue for the right.
But why? Everybody calls it a drone.
All right,
Let
I'm,
them be happy.
stopping this. I'm stopping
it's
this.
fun. 'Cause
you're losing.
Zach Kahn has asked me
'Cause he's losing.
if I wanted to do a 360 video in the next month for a personal project, what 3 things should I know going into it?
Ooh, that's good.
Know that you're not going to get the same resolution that you're used to getting in 2D.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting consumer grade cameras. There's a lot of great ones out there that make stitching very easy. I think the Theta is pretty great.
I think the Theta is like the clear and away like best one, right? Like
Oh, yeah,
everyone
get a
seems to like-
Theta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, between actually being able to shoot with it and the software they put in to stitch it for you, like it is by far the best way to do it. But know that like you're not going to get, it's going to say 1080p, it's going to even say 4K, and you're going to think, oh, I'm going to get a 4K camera, and you're not. Like that's a 4K image stretched much bigger than the same frame size you're using.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was talking to, because we put up on Facebook, and by the way, when I say everything's first generation, like Tom had to like pull blood from a stone to like get these platforms to actually work with the video because everything is new. Just
Yep.
that's the
It's
truth of it.
it's struggling to find what is high quality enough that we're happy with it, but will play back smoothly.
Right.
So like finding that middle point where everyone's happy with that is still a challenge.
There was one moment I think when like every computer in this office was rendering a slightly different set
moments.
of like everything was like, what about this random collection of settings? And I was at South by just on the phone being like, I can't render anything here. I'm actually I've rendered this beer into my mouth.
I asked. I was like, "Do you have a computer?"
How long did it take to render?
I mean,
Miriam just like let out the PTSD laugh. She's like,
so I would say at the end of it, if we were to try to export a full version of what the After Effects file was, it would be about a 7-hour render. I would say we chunked it out. I think the last time we exported most of them, I think we have 3 different chunks of when we exported. And then putting that into Premiere, that needed to be exported.
And then converted. So it's an hour and a half probably of an export out of Premiere, and then an hour conversion to an MP4. And all that's assuming I didn't screw anything up.
Right.
Which I did a lot.
And so did I. But more so. I more broke the project and had to make Miriam go and clean it up.
oh, it's awful. But it came out. Anyway, I'm going to read this ad, which is for drones, as it turns out.
Hey.
There you go.
And then I want to talk about the experience of watching it, because I think there's the making it, which is really interesting. But then I think we've all learned a lot about watching this stuff and how it's consumed. So let me do this. So 3DR makes drones.
We've been there.
They're
cool.
cool.
Drones.
They're cool. Do you know 3DR, America's largest drone maker? Their Solo Smart Drone is the first drone optimized for your GoPro, so you can get live HD video straight to your mobile screen and full control of the camera from the ground. 3DR made Solo smart because flying has gotten easy, but getting cinematic shots still takes a lot of practice. So, Solo has an extra onboard computer that turns practice time into software. It works like your automatic personal camera crew. The Hollywood toolkit at your fingertips, Tom. This drone's putting you out of business.
I am very aware of this drone.
The Solo drone is based like an Cut this, Andrew.
Oh.
The Solo drone is basically an aerial motion control rig in a backpack. Smart shots guide both the drone and the camera to automatically capture smooth and cinematic shots that not even pro cinema pilots can get. So take that, pro cinema pilots. You're out of work now.
You know who one of those pilots is?
Who's that?
Wes Reel.
Really?
Yeah, just put up a good freelancer that we've used for Verge videos in the past. A lot of our drone operators has come from him.
Yeah.
Just did some in 3DR. Shot something at I don't know, there was snow, so it was probably like snowboarding.
something beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I watched half of it and I was like, I can't watch it anymore. It's too good.
Well, this is an ad for both 3DR and our friend Wes Reel. Look up Wes Reel if you're looking for It's only too bad that the Solo drone will eventually put him out of business. Because it's so good because of its cable cam for shooting a story with multiple frames, or its orbit feature for wraparound circles and towering, mind-blowing spirals that no other drone or pilot, Wes, can imitate. Just tell Solo where to go, push play, and Solo does it all. It even follows you. 3DR gives a Solo away every month to one of their email subscribers. So sign up today to learn more about drones at 3dr.com/Verge.
Cool.
We're going to have Wes on the show. And
Yeah.
this thing eventually ruins his life. The robots are coming for all of us. So let's talk about watching it. So here, this is actually really funny. So Galaxy S7 micro SD slot. I was able to just like grab an MP4 from you guys. Dieter figured, like put it on a thing, figured out how to get in the Oculus viewer. So I had it on an S7 in a Gear VR headset. I was at a bar basically Saturday in South by Southwest. People were rolling through the bar. A lot of people we knew. And I just kept putting people in the headset. And the most interesting thing that I found was if you hand somebody a 10-minute video on a phone at a bar, at a party, it was like a good party, it was like fun, and you're like, watch this 10-minute video, they're just gonna like hate you, right? Yeah. They'll be like, no, I'm not doing. Like, send me a link and then I won't watch it later, right? I put people in the headset and they just sat in there for 10 minutes. I ran the Gear VR for so long that the S7 overheated and died.
Wow.
And by the time Emily Yoshida got there, I was like, try this out, and it was dead. Like, it just wouldn't go anymore. I was like charging it. I had a battery pack. Like, people just want it. There was a line to watch it.
So one day in the future, we're just gonna show up to bars and everyone's gonna be in a headset.
Dieter did this thing. Are we together or are we alone? Like, if we're in a room together and we're both wearing headsets, like, are we together?
Yes, we're together.
Why?
Because we're both experiencing VR together.
But what if we're in different realities?
But what if it's fine? That's a whole new reality on top of that, right?
isn't that what life is like anyway? Let's be real.
Whoa, Miriam.
Did you
so
say
you only got the one day of sleep? Right. That's true. I do experience a different reality than most people all the time, but I'm on drugs, so that's what drugs are like. I think that's what we're getting to. Yeah. Anyway, but so what I found was just watching the fact that you can put somebody in a different world, and I think our content was like great. It was a great thing. It was like really interesting with the animation. But then I would be like, watch the Blue Angels, and you'd put them in the Blue Angels, and that was like a totally different thing. And they would just like watch that whole thing too. And I came to realize that A, there's no notifications, and B, you can't look at your phone. So like you're just like trapped in this space, and you have to pay attention. And I started asking people about it, and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to pay attention. Like I was just there, and I wanted to just stay there for as long as I could. But you guys have been demoing it in the Vive upstairs, which is a much better headset than the Gear VR. What's been your sort of takeaway?
I mean, the most interesting thing for me is like you always have that awkward moment when you show someone your work, like when you make films or make video, of like having them watch it and then you also watching it, but also kind of watching them.
Yeah.
And like looking at their eyes and looking at their facial expressions. And the great thing about any VR headset is it takes away their eyes and you can just look at their mouth and look at how they're reacting in this like pure like you can't really see what they're seeing, you can't really know what they're reacting to. But you get to just see them emote, and you're like, it's a really interesting way to get feedback from people.
We were in there, and I put the actual Vive on and said, I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
It's just you're wrapped in it, and it's the fact that you can move that fast.
So then that's virtual reality.
Yeah. It's like having
because he's in virtual reality. That's fine. He's watching a 360 video in virtual reality. We're
Spherical
done.
video.
Spherical.
Vergecast is over.
Fantastic.
Tom
Oh
just
my
dropped
God.
the mic.
All right. Okay. Was you learn anything, Miriam, while you watch it? Because you've been like, I mean, you have a Spherical video community.
They're harsh.
I haven't actually watched it all the way through in a headset though.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know if I have either.
Maybe
I've watched other
I've
people
watched
do
like
it.
chunks of it and like each bit of the animation that I wanted. I would watch it and I would give it to someone who hadn't seen it to see if they like followed their head the way I wanted them to. But I haven't actually watched the whole way through.
Yeah.
Probably should do that.
Well, it's honestly though because it's like it's a really bad way to QC it
Right.
because chances are you miss something.
Right.
Right.
Yep. That's what I found myself just watching it over and over again and looking in some different space, like whether that's behind me or to the sides or in front of me.
We mostly locked Trey in a room and just made him watch it. A
Yeah.
bunch
That's
of
why
times.
Trey is
So I just
crazy
went
now. That's why Trey is so excited to talk to other people right now. Well, so then the other thing I want to talk about is kind of the resolution piece, which is what Tom was saying earlier. We were talking to like a Facebook product manager, as we were like setting up, putting on Facebook, and he's like, this is going to drive the next great cycle of hardware innovation in phones. Because if you think about the Gear VR, it's not doing anything terribly complicated, right? It cuts the S7 screen in half, and it projects a warped right eye and a warped left eye, and it like put lenses. It's like very simple what it's doing. I think it's a game-changing product. Like having that thing. I mean, I'm the douchebag who flew to South by Southwest with a VR headset in my backpack.
I won't call you a douchebag.
I know, but you've called me other names, and I appreciate that.
But not
did
for,
you wear
not,
it
for
on-
not having a Samsung. I would have one.
I mean, everyone else had them there, but like I was on the plane. I was like, am I going to wear a VR headset on the plane? And I really like. I had a moment where I was like, I can't do this. Like,
Really?
I
Wait,
couldn't
you didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
Oh.
I'll do it
Why?
next time. I just couldn't. I don't
Let's
know.
break and have a support group for this
Yeah.
Wuss.
because you should have done it.
Whoa!
Okay, wait. Wait, I'm trying to make this really calm.
Burn!
No, you should have
No.
done it.
I should have. I'm
Yeah.
sad that I didn't. But
There's
it was
no-
like if I was on a plane that wasn't a plane to South by, because like the last thing I wanted was like, because South by is like all people tweeting about being on a plane the whole time they're on a plane.
Right.
And if I just pulled it out, like,
So,
like
okay.
there have been 1,000 tweets
This
and
brings
like a
up-
Gawker
Could've been
article
another
about
meme.
me.
This brings up another.
Who wants to be a meme?
This brings up another
Everybody.
VR problem that we have, which is
Yeah.
VR selfies, which
Right.
is a thing we've been
Problem.
doing.
Non-stop doing.
These are
What
a
do you-
gift
Why
to the
would,
world.
exactly. Why would you call that a problem?
To explain this,
Phone's loaded with them.
to explain this, something that's been happening around our office, especially whenever someone gets into a VR headset for an extended period of time, everyone tries to take a selfie with them.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a creeper like environment where there's no safe space for VR at this point.
Right.
We need to have like a safe like no
We need
VR
to close
selfie.
that door more often. Like people come running in from other rooms to stand behind you and take a selfie with you.
And no joke, they're funny every time.
every time.
But I'm worried that we're setting a precedent that cannot be sustained.
Nah, it'd be fine.
It's great. Never stop.
I mean, I've been playing a game where I try to get as physically close to Dieter and Chris Grant as I can when they're in that.
Yeah.
I don't win that game a lot. It's really easy to tell, even when you're in a different reality, that someone's like breathing on you. Super creepy, just super creepy. Especially when Grant is like, "Hey, buddy." Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, phone innovation. So it's like we have 4K screens now on phones, but nobody knows why because you can't see it. But the second you start thinking about cutting the phone screen in half, like you do need a 4K screen.
Yeah.
That's a great reason to have a 4K screen. And even the Vive, which I think is the highest quality headset, it's pretty grainy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And like the Gear VR is like just like a low resolution environment.
Yep.
And then you need way more bandwidth. Like on an LTE connection, like even doing
Streaming
YouTube
is real
360
tough, yeah.
is like real bad. So like that's a great reason to have faster Wi-Fi and 5G networks, and they need faster processors. The reason S7 got so hot is because I was running the processor at max like for a day. Right?
Well, I think it's because we've even TVs, right? We've talked about that 4K. Like, do we really need 8K? Like, is 8K something we really need?
Yeah.
But VR is that thing that drives that, right?
Right.
That's the exciting thing for me is that we need screens that are smaller and better,
Yeah.
faster now.
Now.
Can we start it?
Give us
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. No, I mean it's weird because I think we've talked about this a lot on this show, which is like phones are boring, right? Like they're pretty boring. I mean, literally, I need to read another ad. We need to talk about Apple for a couple seconds, but like, phones are boring. Apple's putting out a smaller phone. That's the most exciting thing they can do, like tiny phone.
Apple needs to get on the VR train.
Yeah.
Let's be
So,
real.
and that's worth talking about too, right? Like, a good reason to buy a Galaxy S7 in my mind, an excellent reason, and a reason that I think I might recommend people do it is because the Gear VR is like a life-altering experience.
Yep.
And it actually is. Like you put people in it for the first time and they freak out.
Yeah. And really, the barrier to entry is having an Android phone ready to run it, right?
Yeah.
And having a Samsung, the S7 screen is fantastic, and it's
Yeah.
probably the best way to view it.
Also, like the Gear VR headset's so much more comfortable than the Vive.
Yes,
Yep.
the Vive is really uncomfortable.
It feels like a freaking weight
5 Pre.
dragging down your head.
Sure,
What?
but it's not going to get.
It's whatever. It's the same thing essentially.
But it's like
Yeah.
wearing. It's like you're going scuba diving. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just, and then the cable.
But the Vive, like the straps, the one over the top of your head, and the cable pack. The cable pack on the Vive is like,
it's no joke.
like it might as well just go into your like spine. Like,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's like when you plug in the headphones in the back, it really does look like that scene in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
And you trip over it continuously.
yeah,
Or if
but
you're
it
in a
is.
spinny chair, you're just done. You're just tangled. Yeah. It's awful.
Well, we're getting an Oculus soon, right? I think
Yes.
we're getting Oculus
Yeah.
soon. Because it's coming out soon.
I'm gonna get mine when I'm on vacation, and it's the saddest thing in my life right
Oh,
now.
poor Tom.
I'm still trying to.
Does your wife know that you're bringing your Oculus with you? Or you're
I
not-
can't. That's the thing. I can't because I need my PC to run it, and I can't bring my PC with me.
Where are you going on
Or can't
vacation?
Scotland.
They have PCs in
Scotland.
Scotland. Can you? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to an internet cafe in
Guys.
Scotland and be like, "Do you have?" a
No,
gaming
it's coming
PC?
the day I leave. There's no. I've definitely thought about this already. Like it's getting delivered to the office April 1st, which is also probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving April 1st. So there's no way.
Does that mean I can play with it?
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, let me read this next one, which is about shaving.
No, I
Which
can't help you there. I don't know any.
No one here does. Trey, do you
A
shave?
little bit, yeah.
Do you have your computer? You don't. Do you want to read the ad for Harry's?
Don't let. No. Don't. What are you doing? Don't do this.
He's got to do something good.
No.
He's going to use his bestest,
gonna
deepest
sing it.
voice.
This.
I'm
Use your best
I'm
for
use my
this.
West Coast DJ voice.
No,
Yes.
don't do that. And I will tell you right now, do not say your DJ name at all. At all.
Guys,
You got
this is DJ Do-Rags.
No.
I told you not to do this. This is your fault.
It's my fault. He shaves. You don't shave. I can't have you do it.
Well,
James is bearded.
Well, not really.
He-
I'm just like every 3 or 4 days. You know?
have James read it. James does a great.
All right, James is going to read it.
I can read the ad.
Yeah, read the ad.
Where
You're
is the ad?
British. We should charge more for this.
Shall I do it in my best BBC voice?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
your best David Attenborough, please.
Yeah.
I can't do David
You can do
Attenborough.
David Attenborough.
I think you just
Believe
did.
in you. You can do it.
Where is this ad?
It's right there. The
Scroll,
Harry's.
scroll.
Harry's. Click. No,
Nope,
I'll-
too far.
Yeah, I'm just going to send you the link, James. You know what
No,
riveting
no,
radio
no,
is?
wait, that's
is,
square.
The Squarespace?
No.
No. Hold on. Riveting radio, by the way, is listening to people use Slack. I think is really a thing that everyone wants.
To be fair, it's not here.
No, it's not. Just it's there. I just slacked it to him. There it is.
Oh, here we go.
Um,
This is rather fun.
So I would read option.
Ooh, there's options.
Yeah, I would.
Option 2.
Personal
Yeah, just
story
read option
and
2.
endorsement.
Oh, this is good. This is a sports thing.
Yeah. What you want as a British person to read your sports too.
You should change that because it is underway, right?
Well,
I know something
here we
about
go.
sports.
Oh god.
Are we ready?
Harry's just never coming back.
I just feel so underdressed.
Yeah,
I need a suit and tie, don't I?
it's radio.
Oh, okay.
James is wearing a suit and tie. Everyone, imagine it in your mind's eye.
I just got changed.
Go ahead, James.
Right. Guys, March Madness is almost underway. Can I complain about a hostile audience? I'm going to start again. I'm going
Put
to.
on your tux, James.
I'm
Go
gonna-
put it- James put in
No,
his
no,
tux.
okay.
This is the most
Everyone calm
anticipated
down.
Harry's.
Everybody
Okay.
calm down. This is gonna be the best ad read of all time.
Guys, March Madness is almost underway. You're probably scrambling to figure out which teams are good this year, and yet we all know Susan from the office is going to randomly fill out her bracket and beat you anyhow.
Harsh.
What you really should be doing is figuring out how to get a good, clean shave at an affordable price. And by the way, if you like Cinderella stories, a startup of the name of Harry's is taking on the razor giants and winning guys over left and right. Personal story and endorsement?
No, James. You want us to read that part?
Stop reading.
Wait a second, Nilay.
You did
What?
so
What
well.
is, that was definitely the deep, sexy DJ voice.
No.
Okay,
No.
sorry. Yes, it was.
Trey,
Come on,
if
James.
you are
Come
going
on.
to tell a story about shaving, you can do it now. If not, I want you to
No,
stop.
not in that character's voice.
Guys,
No,
DJ,
No, it's not.
K-Verge.
Oh my
105.9.
God. It's not. Why is it K-Verge? Look, I don't know. Just say something nice about Harry's razors, Trey. Say something good about it.
Harry razors, they're amazing, you guys.
Oh my
God.
All
Go
right.
shave.
Okay, James, start at point 2 now.
Point 2.
This is, by the way, yeah. See
Oh,
where it
I
says-
get it.
You got it? There
I
you
got
go.
it. What makes
This is
Harry
why
special?
people listen to our ads, by the way.
They do?
Yes,
Right.
because they're fucking disasters. Go ahead.
What makes Harry special?
Yeah.
Shall I do it in more London accent?
Yeah.
Shall I
Just
sort of break
change-
it up a bit?
Yeah.
Harry's is the only shaving company.
wait.
But then you have to end it in an American accent.
Oh,
There's
that
a
I
call-
can do.
Either call to action in the American accent, but do this one in a posh
Okay.
London.
Well, it's Harry's. It's Harry's.
Harris.
Harry's is the only shaving company that has both amazing quality and low prices. Quality, German engineered, 5-blade cartridges, close, comfortable shave, no cuts or burn. Quality guaranteed. Full refund if you're not happy.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to just be
I think
normal.
it's
Yeah,
worse than
just-
Trey's voice.
It's
Oh,
No.
burn
not.
down
not.
to the ground.
Shade.
not.
I'm just keeping
just
going.
read
I'm
the
British.
razor ad. What's he going through it?
Price, factory direct prices. Cut out the middleman. Ships right to your door. Sell the blades at half the price of the leading brand. Proof. Over 1 million guys have already made the switch, and thousands more switch every day. So why pay more? Why pay $32
You got
for
it.
an 8-pack of blades when you can get them for half the price at harrys.com? The Harry Starter Set is an amazing deal. For just $15, you get a razor, moisturizing cream, shave cream, and 3 razor blades. And I'm keeping going.
Yep, you got one more paragraph, and then
Harry's doesn't like to discount because their prices are already really low. But we've worked out a special offer just for you guys. Harry's will give you $5 off your first order with a promo code VERGE. Stop overpaying for a great shave. Go to harrys.com right now. That's harrys.com.
You're supposed
Enter
to spell
code VERGE. I'm going to spell it at the end.
okay.
Don't it? This is my enter code VERGE at checkout. That is HARRYS.com. I thank you.
I thank you too. I think we should end the show by just sincerely thanking each other. And I would like to sincerely thank Harry's for not listening to that or letting anyone at your company know what just happened. Just if you're listening to this and you don't go to harrys.com and enter code VERGE at checkout, we're all losing our jobs.
Yep, it's all
Because
bad.
if that ad didn't work, if that didn't convince you to buy some razors right now, I don't know what can.
So is it a good, bad? I want notes.
Well, maybe you'll
It
never know. It's just sometimes things just wash over you,
Yes.
like a tidal wave of razor blade commercials.
I feel pretty confident in saying that it's
sounds
better than
very
Trey's.
dangerous.
It was definitely better.
Whoa. You didn't even give me a chance here, right?
All right. Okay, so we got to do a little bit of Apple, and then we have a lightning round. Tom has a whole gambit. So
So I just have a thing. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
All right, so Apple event.
Yes.
It's happening.
You guys are all big nerds.
Yes.
Tiny phone excite you?
No.
Over it.
It's why?
Yeah, over it.
I've not
Wow.
heard a
Very
convincing
dismissive.
argument why.
I think there's a lot of people who have iPhone 5s.
I think there's a lot of people that really like.
I mean, I want a smaller phone. I just don't want an iPhone.
What do you have?
You don't want to know?
I wanna know
like
what it
a
is.
really old Sony
Wow.
Z3.
Oh, people love that.
I mean, I
thing.
love it
That
'cause
thing
it's
has a great camera.
Water? No.
No?
This is the Z3V.
Oh, that thing did not
Three.
have a great camera.
It's good because I can get caught in the rain on my bike and it won't die.
The V stands for Verizon. It stands for Verizon branding on the front
It's
of the phone.
Awful.
Oh.
It's a
Yeah.
god awful phone.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It can
Or
get wet.
You should get an S7. You can get wet.
It's
just
true. When my contract's up.
I gave Dieter my iPhone 5 earlier for whatever reason, and it just felt so freaking tiny.
Yeah.
Like it was just I don't know how I did it. Just
Yeah.
a little tiny phone. So I don't imagine. I can't
Wait,
imagine.
what do you have now? You have a 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite thing is other people's 6 Pluses look huge to me, and then mine is like, oh, this is the right size for a phone.
Yeah.
And then I get on the subway, I'm like, what is that monster? What is that big stupid phone?
What's that phablet over
yeah.
there?
God, why? Tom, what do you have?
What do I have?
Yeah.
You want to talk? We were moving off Apple now.
No, what do you? No, not like what in your life. Like, what kind of phone do you have?
Oh, I have a 6.
You have a 6.
Yeah.
James has a 6.
6 Plus.
You have a 6 Plus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
But
It's the
honestly,
new normal.
This is the first time I've really been tempted to switch to the S7.
yeah, because
Like-
of the VR stuff
The VR stuff, that's a huge thing, and also just like that screen is really nice.
and the camera's amazing. James
camera's
actually
really nice.
Just did the camera.
James, when's your camera shootout going?
Tomorrow, I think.
Didn't it go up today?
I'm not sure.
We did an
I think it's going
iPhone.
up
We did a
tomorrow.
6S versus S7 camera shootout. If it's going up tomorrow, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
You basically found that the S7 camera did better than the 6S.
Oh, I mean-
down the line.
hands down.
Yeah.
But
And it wasn't that big of an improvement from the S6, the camera.
Right.
Like it.
But the focus is so much faster that it's like.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, using it, but like resolution and
And
all
the-
that stuff wise, it's
and changing anything on it's a lot simpler. I've forgotten how confused I am about how to change any settings on an iPhone.
Yeah, changing-
photography.
changing like
It's crazy.
the speed at which like your frame rate for shooting slow motion in the iPhone is the worst.
Yeah, because you have to bounce to another app.
It's
right?
the worst thing.
But you have to go
Wait,
down.
really?
In,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
you're going down
That
into
sucks.
settings and then
Yeah, so you
find.
leave the camera app. You have to go into settings, and then you can change it there.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
And 4K is enabled by default, and I'm pretty sure they don't want people to accidentally shoot 4K because it's the highest one, because
Yep.
it will destroy the storage in your 16 gig iPhone.
Yep.
Oh right.
So they buried the setting.
That is incredibly depressing. I'm
Yeah.
But
sorry,
the
everybody out
other
there.
crazy thing about the Samsung.
Miriam,
Is the-
sorry, everybody. Harrys.com/The Verge.
Yes. HARRYS.com. The other thing with the Samsung is their app.
Harry.
I just think they got the best bargain for an ad ever.
Yeah.
I was going back to the Samsung. Is the one thing I've never gone with those phones is I just cannot handle Samsung's software.
Yeah.
And the camera app is remarkably simple and straightforward. So whoever that sort of rebellious team were,
Yeah.
they've done something very simple.
So here's the flip side of it, which is, James, you are the only person I know who uses an iPad Pro all day, every day.
Yes.
I've like James has his laptop set up in front of him, and then he's got his iPad Pro stuck up on on the case, and he just like uses both all day long.
But
It's incredible.
Well, I have to say, I've used it. We did the feature, Casey Newson's
Yeah.
feature, drew the whole thing on there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you can draw freehand in vectors and things.
Yo,
Come in, Trey.
man.
Come in, Trey.
Heat's coming off Trey right now.
He's folding
light.
stuff. It's just amazing because you can draw. You just hit. You go straight out of the Adobe thing. Straight.
Did you retouch any of the First Lady photos on the iPad?
That wouldn't work
Why not?
because
I mean, Apple would definitely.
it's
tell you that it
actually
would.
really well. You probably could, but the problem is it's weird. Retouching a picture when you're actually drawing on the picture is really hard.
Really?
It's much easier to use a tablet and just look at what you're doing. I don't know why.
Huh? You
But-
mean much keyboard and look at what you're doing?
Well,
You're
to
covering it
use
up.
to use a Wacom tablet down below, so you're not actually
because you have to
drawing
like
on the
cover your
screen.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the original tablets. I thought you meant like I'm using my random iPad over here and like, what's happening over there? Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's very strange. I mean, Wacom make tablets that you can draw on, and illustrators like it, but for retouching, I just can't do it because you're doing a lot of keystrokes
Yeah.
all the time, and then that whole thing of using a pen to tap keystrokes plus do the retouching is just way too slow.
Yeah. So are you excited about a tiny iPad Pro?
I kind of got used to the new one now.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, if you're drawing on it, the size is useful.
Right. So
And
if you were upgrade, I bet you have an Air. I'm assuming you do.
I
Would
do,
you-
but I
would
don't
you
use
upgrade
it
your
anymore.
Air to the Pro, the Tiny Pro?
I think if I
By the way,
hadn't
that's what they're gonna call it, the iPad Tiny Pro.
the iPad Tiny Pro,
It'd be good.
Tiny Pro.
I'm using the iPad Pro.
There's so many good tiny bro jokes there.
iPad Tiny Bro.
The
It's
Tiny
like
Pro.
some guy in a coffee shop just
The
like
big bro.
drawing.
Yeah. Double
Here.
pop color.
Hey girl, I'm just drawing on my iPad. I don't know how any of that works anymore.
But I tell you something, I'm not using
is that what cool guys
Yeah,
do
no,
to
that's-
pick up chicks?
That's how we do it.
You're married.
I've been married for 4 years. I don't know.
You heard it here.
That's how we do it. We married guys go to coffee shops with their iPads.
With their tiny pros.
Trying to pick up side pieces with their iPad.
Do you remember when we were coming back from
That's right. No, that's seriously, guys. We're not, is that a joke? Is that working?
No,
Nope.
it's not.
Nope.
Try it?
Nope.
Nah, dog.
No? Okay.
Yeah, no. The iPad side piece is not a thing.
But do you remember when after the floater shoot, we were in the train station and we were watching that guy with the big iPad Pro set
Yeah.
up with his keyboard, and all he was doing was swiping back between the screens onto different apps and just
Yeah.
opening them and closing them randomly.
Yeah, no, literally. We were like in the train station, and I was like, James, that guy is just switching apps. He's not doing anything.
No.
He's just enjoying the size of the screen. He's like, what does this app look like? It's huge. What about this app? Also enormous. Like, and he was so happy. And I was just like, what are you doing?
You have to make yourself happy with your purchasing decision somehow.
You ever just buy something and just like look at it for a while? It's like a thing that I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't have a lot to do professionally, so I like to purchase things and gaze at them. So I don't know, Apple doing tiny stuff. I mean, that's
Is it
their
thinner?
vibe.
It's. I mean,
Well, who are they targeting?
knows?
Like who?
Well, so
What's the demo here?
I had this long conversation.
People with regular sized hands.
Yeah.
People.
No, I think there's a lot of people who had 5s and they like iPhone 5s. Right? Like there's a lot of people with iPhone 5s who haven't upgraded. There's a lot of people with the iPhone 5S. There's a ton of people, a surprising number of people with the 5C. Like, why not just be like, you didn't upgrade because the phone got too big for you. Here's a better version of the thing you have, and that's like I'm
Super
pretty
valid.
sure that's
Yeah.
that's a thing you can sell. I think the thing Apple's running into is they are traditionally the company that has like a very focused product line. They're like, this is the right size.
Yep.
And for years, as Samsung's screens and everybody else's screens got bigger, they're like, no, that's stupid. Then they put out a phone with a big screen and their sales skyrocketed. So now it feels like they have to walk back, or they're making. I mean, they have more screen sizes than anybody right now. Like they're coming up on that point when they have like a Samsung number of screen
Yep.
sizes. They have like the Watch, they have the iPad Mini 2, they have the iPad Mini 4, iPad Mini 3 is like that's the kid we don't talk about anymore. Really fell off there, iPad Mini 3. Should have gone to college like your brother. That's brutal.
It's cruel.
Is it really that cruel?
It's not that cruel. It's just the one who's just not in the
he
family
just didn't
photo.
make it far enough.
Yeah.
Your
He
dreams,
just didn't
kids.
make it far enough. Just never left the hometown.
It's
you
fine
know?
though.
Look,
It's
every
cool.
town needs townies.
Yeah. No.
What?
For all the kids out there who didn't go to college, it's okay.
Yeah, you
can still
don't
make
have
something
to
out
go
of
to
yourself.
college.
Yeah, no.
I'd say you
That's
could
fine.
be successful,
Yeah.
but it's just iPad
But
Mini
not
3.
the iPad.
I bet Steve Jobs
You
didn't go to
call the
college.
iPad Mini 3.
I'm
that's
just,
all.
but like he's not in the family photo anymore.
Oh, so something happened.
Yeah.
Like some trauma.
It's got bad for him. So there's the 2 minis, then the regular size iPad, the big iPad, now a smaller iPad Pro, then like the variety of screen sizes of laptops, then like 2 sizes. Like you could just make that chart that they used to make about Samsung, which is like all of Apple's screen sizes, and they're like from small to enormous. And I think that is fine. I actually think that's fine. I think computers should come in all shapes and sizes. But it's just it's blowing their narrative a little bit. Because they're just like, here's an event for tiny things.
Phone body positivity.
I think that's what makes me not interested.
You know,
in the event,
they're just
though.
computers. The computers don't need body positivity, right? Like, no one's shaming the computer, and it doesn't
I don't
have
know. There's
feelings.
like some serious phone size shaming. I feel like.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Occasionally. I mean, like the people who have the small phones think people with the big phones are dumb, vice versa.
Yeah, but that's fine because those are just consumer choices, and not your body.
Linked
That's
your
not what Twitter
identity.
thinks.
My God, look
Buying
how
stuff is in the
small
culture.
your phone is.
That's just stuff you bought, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like though that's part of the reason I'm not interested in the event as
Yeah.
much as I would normally. Like once Apple like comes out and announces like a car or a actual VR headset.
So the VR
Like,
thing, they're
that's
missing
something.
VR. I think the 2 big things of the past few months that we've talked about endlessly are VR and the Echo.
Yep.
And Apple's just like, and the VR is like really nascent. Like,
Right.
like we've been talking about, everything's first generation. It's not their moment for VR. Like Apple doesn't jump into it at this time. They're going to wait for the market to mature. People don't know what they want. They'll make a stylish headset. It'll be great. It'll only run on iTunes. Hooray. Right? But they don't have a video distribution platform.
Nope.
Right? Google's going to do VR, and they've got YouTube, and
Can't even freaking watch 360 video in Safari.
you can't. I know.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't. Their browser doesn't support it. By the way, mobile web, you can't do 360 on the mobile web. Just like you can, but you can't, right? Like
You can't with the big players. There's open source software to do 360 on the mobile web.
Yeah, but we tried a bunch of it, and it was like, okay.
Can we talk about that for a second?
I have
Just
like a lot
why
of thoughts.
Safari does not support that. I have so many friends who, and of course I put in an email. It's like, hey, watch this video that we did. It's amazing, but you can't watch it in Safari. Watch it in Firefox or Opera. Or
Chrome. You mean the popular one?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Watch it in Opera is like the meanest thing you can
anything other than Safari. And of course, I still got replies of like, "Wow, cool panoramic video, bro."
Oh.
It's like, oh,
Yeah. But anyway, but Apple's just like not there, and it's fine. It might not be their moment, but Google has a huge video distribution platform. Facebook is building a huge video distribution platform. Apple has iTunes, and like they're gonna need to do something where people can upload and share 360 videos because that will be the bulk of the content for a long time.
But what about
Right.
the fact that all of these VR headsets are a bit run off gaming PCs? I mean, it's
Well, yeah,
not-
but they
I mean,
have
that's.
a phone.
I think the
Apple
phone is the
sells-
way it gets delivered, right? That's the
Yeah.
App Store, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing you're talking about, like how you distribute like all these like VR videos. It's the App Store.
Yeah.
You download their app, and that serves all the content.
Right, which is I think where that mobile web thing comes in, right? Like,
Right.
I think there's not a lot of development emphasis on plugins for the mobile web because people want you in their app, in their store.
Because
in
it's the
their
best way to watch it.
They want to control the
Streaming is
experience.
not a great way to watch it.
It makes sense. It's annoying.
Yeah, no, the web is dead, and I mourn it every day. I wake up every day, I light a candle for the death of the open web.
Can I bring up a thing?
Yeah, we have a
Um,
lightning round to do.
oh, this is lightning round.
It can be, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a thing that.
Your thing is the first thing in lightning round.
Oh, really? Oh, great.
Google lightning round.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's the sound. Everyone make a lightning noise.
But we didn't speak about her sound effects in the actual thing.
We don't have to.
Just demonstrate one.
But
There
that's
you
you?
That was she recorded the sound effects for the video.
That's you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's you?
Say it again.
It's like a
just
song
completely
request.
fuck Nilay up. Just backhand.
Wait, like Miriam is like one of the most talented people who works here, and then she can also make fucking computer sounds?
Yes.
That's unfair. I hate
You haven't heard this round? You sit behind
I
her.
do nothing but this all day long.
You just make computer sounds?
Yeah,
Make yourself?
do both.
When
Wait.
you type, do you make the sounds? What? Why don't you do this all the time?
She does.
Everybody else
does.
is so over it.
Yeah.
I'm not over it at all, and I run the joint.
Nilay,
Everyone else-
she sits behind you.
next to
Whatever,
you.
man. I'm busy. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
trolling Dieter.
Yeah.
And I got a whole thing going on. Well, now I'm just going to pay more attention. Damn it. Okay, make a lightning sound. Yeah. What?
So cool.
Can we hang out all the time? God damn it. All right, lightning round. Google selling Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
Their robot company. And the story is crazy, right? Bloomberg, like Google employees were emailing back and forth about how the latest Boston Dynamics video showing them like with humanoid robots and like pushing the robots, they were like, this raises questions we don't want to answer at Google. They got leaked to a public listserv. Google's like, screw it. They're going to sell. They're like, we don't want to be in this business. It sounds like chaos, which is sad.
Makes me really sad.
So
Yeah.
sad.
Well, honestly, because like the people that came out of like Amazon, like I don't really want Amazon to buy this. Like
Yeah.
Google's that one company that like they have these weird projects that can go somewhere, can go nowhere. But like I'm interested in the company funding like these like crazy
Yeah.
new tech fields.
Well, Toyota is also interested as well.
Yeah, and it's like seeing it like Google doesn't feel like they have any like actual application for it, right?
Right.
Amazon, you feel like they'll develop a
The dog is going to come running down the street. By the way, that is literally, I think, in Snow Crash, right? With like the angry dog that like attacks. You guys know what I'm talking
No,
about?
not at all.
No idea.
In Snow Crash, the novel by Neil Stephenson, one of the main ish themes is that they have like robot attack dogs that like run around.
Yeah.
That's what Amazon is going to build. But instead of
Absolutely.
attacking you and protecting you, they're going to like
Deliver your
deliver
socks.
paper towels.
Like
Anyway,
a robot Saint Bernard with like
Yeah.
alcohol under his chin.
Do we have
I would 100% get down with
So-
a robot booze Bernard.
I would fuck with that. Heartbeat. Please, right now.
Family
Little-
show.
little-
Although we've been swearing this whole time.
Right.
Anyway, you
So-
have a thing.
So, one of the big things that have always thought about with them acquiring Boston Dynamics when it happened was that if you ever go on the Google campus, they have all these bikes, these like different colored bikes that everyone rides around on. And when we were shooting a feature out there last year about this time, Virgin alum Ryan Manning and I were thinking, you know what? 10 years from now, all these bikes are replaced with big dogs.
Oh my God.
And sadly, that dream might die.
It will.
So I want to just do a quick tribute to that dream.
It's coming.
Do it.
Kick it off. Neil, you have to describe this for the audio audience.
For the radio listener, we're watching a slideshow of big dogs in various locations while Sarah McLachlan plays, which you can hear. That's a picture of a dog photoshopped onto the Google campus. That's a Photoshop of somebody riding a big dog.
Just love that they're in black and white.
Yep.
Love that they're in black and white.
That's how you can tell it's true.
So I just want to, it's sad that it's over.
It's not over. The company's going to exist, but the dream of riding
on the campus is dead, and that's what I'm.
Maybe they'll rebuy it later.
I mean, that
seems like a Google thing to do.
Google. Okay. Next lightning round topic.
Right.
SeaWorld no longer breeding orcas.
Heck yeah.
That was a layup for you. I did that one for you.
Fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic.
Samsung put out a new convertible tablet PC called the Tab Pro S. Any reaction from anyone?
The tadpole.
Okay. And then I've just put South by Southwest here, which I'm just giving a mid thumbs up.
I didn't get to look at anything from South by.
It was a boring show. I think the best thing that happened is Caitlin Tiffany, one of her features or one of her reports was she tried to go to every event and make a true friend.
Yeah, that's the best thing
Which
that
is
came out of South by.
Which is now, you can read that on the site. That's it. That was our show. We're a little bit over time, but it was a good show. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for working so hard on this video. Thank you, Miriam, for letting me know about the computer sounds.
Play us out, Miriam.
God, it's so good.
It's so good.
Anyway, we'll be back next week. Obviously, there's a big Apple event. We're covering the hell out of that on Monday. So tune in to The Verge. Dieter and Lauren are going this time. I'm hanging back. They're live blogging. They're covering it. We're on video with hands-on. We'll obviously have a Vergecast when Dieter comes back with all the new stuff. That'll be very exciting. Hopefully, it's more than just a tiny phone and tiny iPad, but what are you going to do? And then, if you're looking at follow it, you can follow @Verge on Twitter. You can hit us up on Snapchat. We're Verge. Dieter and Lauren will be snapping from the event. You can hit us up on Instagram @Verge. We're now the biggest tech brand on Instagram, by the way.
Woohoo!
Helen, how about
Holla.
I love you. Anyway, and then you can also, we have all these other shows. You can, What's Tech comes out every Tuesday with Chris Plant. Control Alt Delete, which I host with Mossberg, comes out we record on Wednesday. It comes out on Thursdays. Vergecast hits every Friday with Emily Sheeta and Liz Lopato. And then Lauren Good has Too Embarrassed to Ask over on the Recode Network, which is also wonderful. And all that is available at itunes.com/TheVerge. These fine people, their work is available on YouTube and the Facebook. On YouTube, it's just youtube.com/TheVerge.
The Verge.
/The Verge.
On Facebook, it's facebook.com.
You can do it.
Search for The Verge on Facebook. It's easy.
Well, no,
But you're not going to.
If you get it wrong on Facebook,
It goes to some weird
it's like some
You're
weird
not gonna
Canadian rock radio station.
If you're listening and you've honestly thought you're going to come in and go to your web browser and type in facebook.com/The Verge, just like search for The Verge on Facebook.
It's
You'll find
The
us.
Verge. Fucking Google it.
Right. It's easy.
All right, here's how we're going to end the show.
Also, please subscribe to YouTube
Oh,
for us.
subscribe to YouTube.
It
We're
helps-
so close to 1 million.
Yes, we're
Yes.
so close to 1 million. It helps us do crazy things like interview the First Lady in 360, and we want to do more of that in the future. So more subscribers actually lets us do that.
Yeah. So we're
Fantastic.
so close to 1 million. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to say The Verge. I'm going to say some, and then I want you to make a laser sound, and that's going to be the end of the show. You ready?
All right.
The Verge. Fucking Google it.